You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Secure behavior change relies on more than lectures. It uses deliberate techniques to make the safer choice the easier one. Prompts serve as reminders, such as pop-ups warning users when they are about to send an external email with sensitive data. Defaults reduce risk by ensuring secure options are chosen automatically, like enabling encryption by default on messaging apps. Friction can be introduced for risky actions, such as requiring extra confirmation before downloading from unverified sites. Incentives, like recognition for teams with high phishing report rates, reinforce positive behaviors. Together, these techniques embed security into daily work rather than relying on memory alone. Real-world context makes training stick because employees see how guidance connects directly to their daily tasks. Telling staff to avoid suspicious links is abstract. Showing them an actual phishing email resembling invoices they process every week is far more impactful. Developers respond better to examples that involve vulnerable code snippets from languages they use, while finance teams learn best from realistic fraudulent payment requests. Context transforms generic rules into relatable scenarios, helping users understand not only what to do but why it matters for their specific work. Policies often fail because they are written in legalistic or technical language that employees cannot translate into action. Turning policy into practice means breaking it down into clear workflows and steps. For example, a policy might say, all sensitive data must be encrypted at rest and in transit. In practice, user guidance would explain, always upload client files to the approved encrypted storage drive. Do not email files, instead, share via the secure collaboration portal. Translating abstract requirements into concrete, do this, not that, instructions helps staff follow rules consistently without needing technical expertise. Identity-focused guidance is especially important as authentication becomes the front line of defense. Employees need simple, clear instructions for enrolling in multi-factor authentication, MFA, registering devices, and safely using single sign-on SSO systems. For example, guidance may explain how to avoid approving unexpected MFA prompts, a common phishing tactic. Training should reassure staff that these steps protect them as well as the company, making logins both safer and more convenient. By demystifying these processes, organizations increase adoption rates and reduce friction that often leads to risky workarounds. Collaboration is unavoidable, but it must be done securely. Employees should be shown safe patterns for sharing files, such as using approved cloud platforms rather than emailing large attachments. Training should highlight the risks of using personal accounts or unauthorized apps, not just forbid them. For example, a one-pager might explain, to share client documents, use the secure drive link. Avoid sending attachments over personal email. These are not monitored or backed up. By providing approved alternatives, guidance makes it easier to comply with policy without stifling productivity. Remote and roaming users face distinct risks, so guidance must address them explicitly. Staff should know to avoid public Wi-Fi without using a VPN, understand the importance of keeping devices locked when unattended, and comply with posture checks before connecting to corporate networks. For example, a traveling employee may receive prompts requiring updated patches before being allowed access. Clear, practical advice reduces risk in environments outside direct IT control, reinforcing that security expectations follow the employee wherever they work. USB and removable media remain a common source of malware and data loss. Guidance should clarify acceptable uses, such as only corporate-issued encrypted drives, and outline safe practices like scanning devices before use. Employees should also know which uses are prohibited, such as plugging in unknown USB drives found at conferences. Explaining the why that attackers sometimes drop infected drives hoping someone will connect them makes the rule memorable. Clear rules combined with safe alternatives prevent accidental lapses while reinforcing vigilance. Insider risk awareness is not about mistrusting colleagues, but about recognizing unusual requests that might signal compromised accounts or malicious insiders. Employees should be trained to flag unexpected data requests, such as a coworker suddenly asking for large datasets outside their role. They should also know the proper approval channels for sensitive actions. For instance, finance staff might be told, never process urgent wire transfers without manager sign-off, even if the request appears to come from an executive. Normalizing reporting of suspicious behaviors creates an early warning layer against insider threats. Acceptable use policies set the boundaries of workplace technology, but they are more effective when framed as pillars rather than prohibitions. Guidance should highlight what's allowed, what's discouraged, and why. For example, using corporate laptops for occasional personal browsing is acceptable, but downloading personal software is discouraged because it may introduce malware. Explaining the rationale helps staff see acceptable use not as arbitrary rules, but as safeguards that balance flexibility with security. This framing increases compliance and reduces resentment. Escalation templates provide users with ready-made scripts for reporting potential security issues. For example, a template might instruct, if you receive a suspicious email, click the Report Phish button. If the button is unavailable, forward the message to security@company.com with the subject line, Suspicious Email. Do not delete the original message. Having simple scripts removes hesitation and confusion, ensuring staff know exactly what to say and do. Templates empower users to escalate confidently, transforming passive observers into active participants in defense. Embedding guidance directly into tools reduces friction and improves adoption. Inline tips, contextual help, and pop-up nudges within systems provide support at the moment of need. For example, a file-sharing portal might display a reminder to apply access restrictions before sending a link. An email client could highlight when attachments exceed size thresholds and recommend secure transfer alternatives. By building training into workflows, organizations reduce the gap between policy and action, making the secure choice the obvious one without requiring extra effort. A practical action exercise can make guidance tangible. Take one commonly broken policy, for example, password sharing. Create a one-page how-to guide that explains why password sharing is risky, shows approved alternatives such as delegation features, and provides a one-click link for reporting incidents. Equip managers with talking points to reinforce the message in team meetings. This transforms a vague policy into a clear, actionable workflow. By publishing the one-pager and supporting it with tools and manager reinforcement, the organization closes the gap between intent and practice. By the end of Part 1, learners should understand that user guidance and training must go beyond abstract rules to practical, role-specific advice. Secure behavior change is driven by context, reinforcement, clear workflows, and integration into everyday tools. With this foundation, Part 2 will cover just-in-time prompts, manager enablement, dashboards, high-risk cohorts, and feedback mechanisms that make secure habits scalable and sustainable. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Just-in-time training brings security learning directly into the moment of action. Instead of relying solely on periodic modules, prompts are triggered when risky behavior occurs. For example, if an employee attempts to copy sensitive data to a personal drive, the system can display a quick reminder. This action may expose confidential information. Please use the secure file portal instead. These micro-interventions are brief, non-punitive, and provide an immediate corrective path. By linking feedback to real actions, just-in-time training reinforces lessons at the exact time they are most relevant, improving both memory and adoption. Phishing awareness doesn't end at "don't click." Post-click training addresses the reality that even cautious employees sometimes make mistakes. When someone falls for a simulated phish, they should receive coaching and guidance, not blame. This includes showing what red flags they missed, reviewing containment steps like reporting immediately, and reinforcing that quick escalation after a mistake is still valuable. In real incidents, technical containment, such as forcing a password reset, should be paired with user education. Post-click training turns an error into a growth opportunity and ensures users remain allies in defense. Managers play a pivotal role in reinforcing secure habits. Manager enablement programs provide short guides and talking points so leaders can discuss security expectations naturally in team settings. For example, a leader guide might include a checklist for reinforcing safe collaboration tools or scripts for reminding staff about phishing report buttons. Managers already influence behavior through daily interactions, so equipping them with simple resources makes them multipliers of training efforts. This approach embeds security into the culture by making it part of regular team discussions rather than one-off training sessions. Measurement dashboards allow organizations to see whether user guidance is making a measurable difference. Dashboards can track adoption rates of secure practices like VPN usage, behavior changes over time, such as decreasing phishing click rates, and highlight high-risk cohorts that need extra support. For example, a dashboard might show that finance staff report phish faster than the overall average, but also face more targeted attempts. These insights allow leaders to allocate resources strategically and adjust training programs to address areas of greatest need, transforming security guidance into a continuously measurable discipline. High-risk populations, such as finance, HR, or executives, require specialized focus. These groups often face targeted attacks like business email compromise or spear phishing. Training for them should be more frequent, tailored to their workflows, and paired with stricter technical controls. For instance, finance teams may receive quarterly BEC-specific modules and be required to use stronger authentication. HR may receive extra modules about safe handling of resumes to avoid malware-laced attachments. Treating high-risk groups with tailored attention reduces exposure where attackers are most likely to focus their efforts. Train-the-trainer programs allow organizations to scale expertise across business units. Instead of central security teams running every session, selected staff within departments are trained deeply and empowered to deliver guidance locally. For example, a developer champion could lead secure coding workshops within their team, translating guidance into the specific tools and frameworks they use. This approach distributes responsibility, builds local ownership, and makes training culturally relevant to each unit. By scaling through trainers, security programs extend reach without overburdening central teams. Content must remain fresh and relevant. A content refresh pipeline ensures examples rotate regularly and outdated references are removed. For instance, phishing simulations should evolve to include new techniques like QR code scams rather than repeating old invoice-themed emails. Removing stale materials keeps learners engaged and prevents training fatigue. Content refresh cycles can be tied to threat intelligence feeds, audit findings, or even learner feedback. A pipeline approach ensures training reflects the evolving threat landscape and organizational priorities. Resistance to training is inevitable, and addressing it constructively is essential. Gathering objections helps refine content. Some employees may feel training wastes time or doesn't apply to their roles. Security teams must answer the "what's in it for me" question, showing how secure habits protect both the employee personally and the company collectively. For example, emphasizing that phishing training helps protect employees, personal accounts as well as work accounts creates personal relevance. Reducing friction by shortening modules or embedding guidance into tools also helps overcome resistance and increase adoption. Bridging training to policy ensures that guidance doesn't remain theoretical. After completing a training cycle, users may be asked to complete a short quiz or attestation to confirm understanding. For example, after a secure collaboration module, staff might attest that they will use approved file-sharing platforms and not personal drives. These attestations serve as lightweight commitments and provide compliance evidence for auditors. Linking training directly to policy verification closes the loop between knowledge and accountability, making compliance traceable and defensible. Real-world incidents offer powerful teaching material when anonymized. Instead of generic case studies, training can use examples from actual organizational experiences without naming individuals. For instance, an anonymized story about how a misdirected email led to a data disclosure is far more relatable than an abstract warning. These examples show staff that mistakes happen internally and highlight how small lapses can cause significant impact. By framing them constructively and anonymously, organizations reinforce lessons without shaming, while grounding training in authentic scenarios. Governance keeps training programs sustainable. Ownership should be clearly defined, often within HR or security awareness teams, and update cadences must be scheduled. Governance also ensures alignment with compliance requirements, such as annual training mandates for privacy laws or audit evidence collection. For example, GDPR-driven privacy modules may be required annually, while PCI-related modules are targeted to payment card staff. A governance structure ensures training is not ad hoc but embedded into organizational planning, compliance cycles, and long-term strategy. Ultimately, effective user guidance and training is practical, embedded, and sustained. Secure habits are supported by tool integration, tailored to roles, reinforced by managers, and measured continuously. Programs evolve with threats, address resistance with empathy, and connect directly to policy compliance. A simple starting point is to publish a one-page how-to for a frequently broken policy, brief managers to reinforce it in team meetings, and track adoption through dashboards. This iterative, role-specific, and manager-supported approach transforms training from a compliance requirement into a lived security culture. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.